In the year 2087, humanity reached a point of saturation. The world was no longer run by governments but by temporal conglomerates, corporations that specialized in time computation, data prediction, and historical synthesis. Memory no longer belonged to the mind, and the future no longer belonged to fate. It all began with a device called the Aeon lens, invented by neurotemporal physicist Dr. Calix Vermont. The lens wasn't a time machine in the traditional sense. It couldn't send you to ancient Rome or launch you into 3025. Instead, it did something subtler and far more powerful. It could simulate consciousness into any point on the time spectrum, provided there was enough recorded data, neural mapping, and quantum anchoring available. By 2091, thanks to decades of surveillance data, global brainwave archives, and predictive AI models, people could visit events in the past and near future by syncing their minds into projected time environments. You could relive your 7th birthday or witness your retirement party. You couldn't touch anything, you couldn't change anything, but you could feel it, and that was enough to change everything. Phase 1. Memory collapse. When people began spending hours in their pasts, their neural pathways grew confused. Young minds experienced their future deaths. Elderly ones relived youth daily. The human brain, built for linear time, began to flatten its chronology. PTSD treatments vanished, but so did natural growth. A child who had experienced motherhood through the Aeon lens would later reject the reality of puberty. Why go through it when you've already known what comes after? Calendars became obsolete. People began to measure life in experiential clusters. Collections of moments from any when were you born became less relevant than where do you dwell in time. Phase 2. Chronoclones. Once enough data accumulated, a disturbing innovation appeared. Chronoclones. These were digital echoes of you, composites of your behavior, choices, and neuro-response patterns across time. Some people outsourced their jobs, marriages, and even therapy sessions to their own clones. What truly blurred the line was this. Chronoclones could be placed in the future, predicting what you would do, and fed that data back to your present self. You became an echo of your future just as much as your past. Soon the phrase, "I remember tomorrow," became common. Phase 3. The temporal mirror, the Aeon lens 3.0, introduced reflective mode. It allowed users to see how every single decision they made forked out into thousands of micro-futures, ripples across the chronoscape. Users could choose which timeline felt right and follow it, creating self-curated fates. But a side effect emerged. People stopped choosing. The sheer abundance of possibilities paralyzed them. If every choice could be experienced before being made, why make it? The present became a hallway between rooms no one entered. The twist, the silence virus. Then came the silence, a digital phenomenon with no known source. It crept into the Aeon lens network, stripping certain memories, muting futures, and leaving people stranded in blankness. At first, people panicked, but slowly something shifted. Those affected began to rediscover the now. Without past or future simulations, their minds recalibrated to sensation, breath, presence. They began planting gardens again, walking without destination, writing by hand, laughing without context. A counterculture was born. The presentists. They wore no time-tracking devices, lived off-grid, and rejected simulations. They began to teach something radical. Not all time needs to be seen to be lived. Final reflection. Dr. Vermont, by then a recluse, was interviewed in her final days. When asked what she regretted most, she smiled faintly. "Time was never the enemy," she said. "Our fear of it was. We thought if we could master time, we'd never suffer loss. But love, meaning joy, they all live inside impermanence. The moment we erased surprise, we erased wonder." She paused, then added, "Perhaps the true future is not a place we travel to, but a depth we awaken in. A place where the soul doesn't move through time, but with it. And as the Aeon lens fell out of fashion, and people returned to moments that were fully unknown, something unexpected happened. People began to dream again, not of what had been or what might be, but of things that had never been seen before. And finally they realized, time was never a line. It was a mirror. And when you stop trying to pass through it, you begin to see yourself clearly.